Morning guys. So in this video I'm going to talk about my McLaren 600LT Spider and how it's been in the last 2 years of ownership, and compare some of its great features, some of its maybe not so good features, talk about its performance in comparison to other ICE cars and also EVs. Yeah, and just, a general all about video. And right now let's just talk about the paint first, as the sun is out. The paint is MSO Volcano Red. The reason it's an MSO colour now, it didn't used to be. You will also have to excuse the car is a bit dirty. I have been driving it and admit to not washing it. And we're going to be going for a drive over the weekend in it as well, so and made actually no sense to wash it for this video. So yeah, it's Volcano Red. So yeah, it's a 600LT Spider. I believe the list price when new was 186,000, but I'm not sure if that was the coupe or the Spider price. So yeah, maybe let me know in the comments if anybody actually knows what the list price was for a coupe and a Spider. This is a Spider. This also has several MSO options on it. One of the key ones being the louvered wings, which for me, say and a half. Would you buy a GT3 RS and then ask Porsche not to delete the vented wings? I think the general consensus is hell no, and that was my fault with buying a 600LT. It needed to have the louvered wings because I think that they look amazing. However, I understand why not many cars have those, because they were £10,000 list price option. I believe the paint was also about £10,000 or £11,000 option. The wheels were also about £5,000 option. Car has the 720S brakes. So really amazing brakes performance wise, because obviously the 600LT weighs quite a bit less than a 720S. It's not actually faster, because obviously it has a lot less horsepower, but it does weigh less. It's got the MSO black pack, so whereas cars could either be factory palladium on all of these bits, or you could have the carbon exterior packs, in the later years of production they introduced the MSO black pack, which this car has. I think that was about £6,000, and I actually think it complements the Volcano Red perfectly. The other great thing about the MSO black pack, because obviously the front there is all black, when you get a stone chip or you scratch it, you don't have to worry about repairing carbon. Though actually it is all carbon anyway. All McLarens 600LTs are all carbon. When you pay for the extras, you're paying just for the visual. So what I mean by that, if you spec the carbon exterior pecs on a 600LT, they're just making it look nice, a little bit like this. But these, all of this is all carbon fibre. Because if I pull this off and turn it over, you've got all the weave on the underside. Same with the access tray. It's all carbon fibre. You're paying for the visual. So yeah, I think the weight of the coupe, it was 1,290 kilos, and the Spider is 1,340 kilos. My personal opinion is, you maybe agree or disagree with me, but I think if you're buying a McLaren, you should always buy a convertible. And my reasoning for that is that they have zero scuttle shake. And the reasoning for that is because they use a carbon tub. This car also has the full extended carbon sides, MSO branded. But if you look here inside, you can see all carbon fibre, which means that you can drop the roof. I shall try to demonstrate. If this goes wrong, I do apologise. Yeah, you see it's a pretty fast operation as well. You can do it, I believe, up to around 25 miles an hour. And that's the roof down. which just gives this car, you basically get 3 sound modes with this car. Roof up, windows closed, rear window down, so that you get to listen to the glorious sound that those top mounted exhaust blast out, or roof down. Now the loudest is actually roof up with just the back window down, but my favourite is of course driving with the roof down. I mean, let's do the McLaren trick. Oh, this car also has quite a lot of extras on the interior. So we've got the carbon interior package, we've got the security package, we've got the lifter, we've got the better stereo, and I will tell you now, if you're buying any McLaren, do try to find one of the Bowers and Wilkins stereo. It makes a massive difference. The sound quality, it is not only one of the best cars I've ever owned for sound quality, but the fact it's a lightweight supercar, it's just incredible. And also, again, if you're buying a 600 LT, you must have center seats or P1 bucket seats. You know, it's a track car. You don't want no comfort, lardy ass seats in a track car. Also, another very important feature, you want the suede. Everything's suede. You don't want no leather in a track car. This is not a GT. This is a track car. But what I will say, let's just talk about GT for a moment. This car rides immensely well. When you put it in comfort mode, it rides as good as any car. It will also, on a motorway run, cruising, let's say, between 70 and 80 mile an hour, you will return around 40 miles to the gallon. So it needs to say if you're planning European road trips, long drives out, where you know you're going to be cruising in higher gears a lot, McLarens are a superb choice for that, because you will see 40 miles to the gallon. On that, even if you're carrying a bit of pace, you'll still be over 30 miles to the gallon. Now, of course, on track, and I have done many track days, you're going to see about less than 5 miles to the gallon. So the car can drink the fuel really quick, but it can also be really efficient if you're just cruising. But you could use one as a daily. Absolutely. I mean, you have the boot in the front, which is really big. Let me see if it'll still let me open things up. Yeah. And you've also, in a convertible, if it lets me do it. No, it's not been on long enough. Let me... Right, it's just beeping about the front luggage compartment being open. Okay, it doesn't want to do that. Let's show you the front luggage department to begin with. Yeah, you've got quite a cavernous hole there. You can get carry-ons in there and a host of other items. And you can see this paint. I'll try once more. You can't open it, of course, because the roof is down. My bad. But yeah, when the roof is up, because obviously the roof is actually now in there. When the roof is up, you open this up and you've got another small area where you would get a couple of small soft bags and maybe some shoes. As I say, we went to the Isle of Man in the car, where if you see a national speed limit sign, you can actually go as fast as you want. There is no speed limit. We did about 180 miles per hour on a public road in the Isle of Man. Absolutely incredible. And I say, on track, it's like driving around with a cheat code on. But it is immense fun, which is something I really like about it. Don't get me wrong, it is too fast for the road. And that you can enjoy it on the road, but if you stay in the throttle, even just for a couple of seconds, you're going to be breaking speed limits. So yeah, for me, it's the most fun of any McLaren I've ever driven. It's not the fastest, not by a long shot, but it's the most fun. And my reasoning for that is simply because it has the traditional passive suspension. It's also got the soft closed doors as well. As I think the list price on this car was nearly 300,000. And I basically got it for half that because I obviously didn't buy it brand new. Oh yeah, we've gone all around it. So, oh yeah, as always, you will give me a follow on Instagram. It's always appreciated. So I'm just going to sit down now with the car review and just talk about some of the... So yeah, one of the bad points about the car, as I've mentioned, I do track days in this. And McLaren, if you have an extended warranty in the car, which I do, the extended warranty cost $4,500 for 2 years, which I don't think is bad value because that warranty is pretty comprehensive. So far under the warranty, I've had the air conditioning repaired, I've had the front dampers replaced, and I've also had the front bushes replaced, all under extended warranty. And like I say, it was $4,500 for 2 years on one of their discounted Black Friday promotions. Now, back to track days. You want to go on a track day and you want to maintain the warranty, you need to have a pre-inspection, which costs £250. I don't really know what they're doing. Well, I do know what they're doing. Have a check sheet. In short, they're doing some visual checks on the car, and they claim it takes 2 hours, but I could do it in an hour. And then you also have to have a post-inspection after you've done your track day, another £250. So every track day is £500 in inspections, which I think is absolutely disgraceful. And one of my reasons for it, I don't even think it should exist. You can buy a Porsche, you can put an extended warranty in a Porsche, and you do as many track days as you want in between servicing. It doesn't invalidate your warranty. You don't need to do it. So McLaren, that's a massive thumbs down. Sorry, big thumbs down. Track day inspections, get rid of them. It's an LT car. It's LT. It's a car for the track, and you're insisting on inspections to maintain warranty. Of course, if it's under a brand new car manufacturer's warranty, legally they can't do that. But anyway, yeah, so the whole money for track inspections, if you're running an extended warranty, is bonkers. Really disagree with it. Porsche, they know how to do it. I'm not going to talk about Ferrari warranty. I don't think their extended warranty is really up to much crop at all. But yeah, I've had it 2 years and I've done 8,000 miles. And I paid, as I say, half of 300, so work it out, 150. If you go on the classifieds now, you will not find another Spider with less than 20,000 miles with all those MSO goodies on it for less than 150. You may find some with 20,000 miles on for around 140, but they haven't got the wings. And there'll be something else in the spec that's not quite as good, or the mileage will be beyond 20. Needless to say, the Spiders, dependent on mileage, I've actually held their values really good. I remember when I was looking, the coupes were about 125 to 130. You can now get a coupe for 120. But I think value-wise, over the last 2 years, they've actually held their value really good. Because if you look at some other cars, Porsche, a 992 GT3 was 200,000 plus. You can now buy one of them for about 150-ish. Other Porsches as well, have also dropped considerably in money. 458s have dropped. Also, I used to own a 458. I had a 458 for 5 years. Just put that in comparison. The warranty was about 3,000 a year. Not as comprehensive as the McLaren warranty. And though the car was generally very good to me, in my 5-year period, it needed a new battery, which what Ferrari did actually replace. It needed a new windscreen, but that's not Ferrari's fault. That's the fact that a stone hit it. That's totally unavoidable. But again, I do insure my cars with a specialist insurance company because I want my track day cover, and they fully paid out the £4,000 for the windscreen replacement on the Ferrari. But the real bad bit was, at 26,000 miles, the DCT gearbox decided it didn't want to hold the oil anymore. I was very lucky that the oil clutch seal failed as I reversed onto my driveway at home, which meant all the oil was dropped on the driveway and the car was never driven. Ferrari collected the car. The local dealership were absolutely superb because other Ferrari dealerships were quoting around £10,000 to do the repair. A Ferrari specialist, more than one, were quoting £12,000. I actually had the car done on the gearbox, all repaired at Ferrari with all Ferrari new parts. In fact, I can show you the old gearbox casing is actually here on display, just in our garden next to a plant pot. So yeah, that was £7,500. So that was a little bit of a unwanted expense with the 458, unfortunately. And just go, so let's see if I can, let's lock it. And then I will see if I can put the roof back up. Once it's finished arming itself. There we are. I'm going to put the roof back up now. So yeah, reliability, I would say for me the car's been fantastic. I've done some big speeds in it, I've done some track days in it, and I've done a lot of road miles in it. Performance of this car is absolutely staggering. Even Chris Harris said he would buy a 600 LT, money aside, just for the way it drove, over both a Lamborghini Performante and a 488 Pista. That's how much Chris Harris likes this car. But anyway, moving aside Chris Harris, 0 to 62 is 2.9 seconds officially. 0 to 60 has been done in 2.6 seconds. 0 to 124 mile an hour. Now this is the proper stat you should be looking at for any properly fast car, or a supercar or a hypercar. So, that's 0 to 200 kilometers per hour for European viewers. The 600 LT does that in 8.2 seconds. That is insane. Quarter mile is a 10-second car. I'll just give you a bit of comparative for that 0 to 124 mile an hour figure. A Ferrari 488 Pista is faster. It does it in 7.6 seconds. A McLaren 750S is even faster again. That does it in 7.3 seconds. That is absolutely insane. Now we go back to some other favourite cars of mine. The Ferrari 458 Speciale does it in 9.1 seconds. The regular 458 is about 10.4 seconds. The Lamborghini STO does it in 9 seconds flat. And I think one of the very latest Lamborghini Aventadors LP750, so 750 horsepower, is 8.6 seconds. So as you can see, the 600 LT, it's quicker than an LP750, quicker than an STO, quicker than a Speciale. It's a proper bit of fast kit. And you can now pick a 720S up for 600 LT money. So if you're only interested in straight line performance and the numbers, and you just want something that is going to pretty much beat anything on the road for about 100 grand, buy a McLaren 720S. The reason I bought the slower car, the 600 LT, I just prefer the way it drives. I just felt the car had more feeling everywhere. Of course, the other great thing about a McLaren is it's got a hydraulic steering rack. So you've got Lotus steering feel and Lotus handling dynamics. And then you've just got immense power. And I mean, just look at it. They really nailed it with the look of this car. It's not too big. I mean, it's not small either. But it's perfectly drivable. I mean, I've driven this car all around Scotland, Wales, Isle of Man. We're going to go Europe in it next year. I mean, we've driven this car everywhere. Anyway, to just keep on comparing against performance-wise, obviously people like to brag, electric cars are quicker than supercars. Well, no, they're not. They're not even remotely close. A Tesla 3 Performance, in its all maximum modes full charge battery, does 0 to 124 mile an hour in 14.2 seconds. Put that in comparison, a Ferrari 360 is as fast as that. Ferrari 360 does it in 13.9 seconds. A Ferrari 430 does it in 11.6 seconds. We're talking about Ferraris here from 20 years ago, you know. So no, electric cars are not as quick as supercars. Not unless you want to buy the stupid electric cars, and I like a Tesla Plaid. But I don't hate electric cars. I think they have a place. I think they're great as city cars. I think they make perfect sense. But I don't enjoy driving them. I find them totally soulless to drive, absolutely boring. And not just because they don't have the engine. Of course, that's a massive factor. An engine is an incredible thing. The car vibrates, you get all the noises, you get the sensations. Electric car has none of them. It's just handling dynamics. A Tesla is grippy, it doesn't handle. A Kia GT EV6, which is the fast Kia, that does 0 to 124 in 12.9 seconds. And the latest Hyundai Ionic 5N, which is one of the latest electric cars, which is geared more towards trying to make driving a bit more fun like it would be a nice car, that does it in 9.8 seconds. That's definitely more respectable. That's under 10 seconds. That's even close to where some modern supercars are. Hence, like if we talk a regular 458 is 10.4 seconds. A regular Huracan, by that I mean one of the first Huracans, 10.6. The latest Audi R8 V10 Plus, so the last ones they built with four-wheel drive, they would do 0 to 124 miles at 9.9 seconds. A Nissan Skyline GTR is 11.3 seconds, and a Mercedes GTR AMG is 10.9 seconds. But yeah, a Tesla 3 Performance is not as quick as a supercar. Not unless you're talking about supercars from 20 years ago. Anyway, moving from performance aside, I've covered track day costs, I've covered warranty and reliability. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really much else to really cover. You've seen the roof in action. I will do a code start video for you guys, but obviously I moved it out the garage, so it's not code anymore. So what I will do a start up at the end of today, and I'll do it as a short. When that will appear on my channel is an unknown, because obviously actually filming the videos and actually uploading them, there is a time disparity. But yeah, it's an absolutely brilliant car. It's the only McLaren I ever fancied, because I will be honest, you know, another down point of a McLaren is, yeah, they sound pretty rubbish, you know. Well, when I say that, I mean to the people who like stood at the side of the street, and if you go driving past them at 10 mile an hour or 100 mile an hour, a McLaren isn't going to excite you with the noise it makes, to be blunt. If a Ferrari goes past you at 10 mile an hour, 100 mile an hour, well, an old Ferrari, you're going to be grinning like crazy. I mean, having driven the 458 and the 360, you know, the noise, especially kids, they absolutely love it. And if I ever get a kid asking me to rev a car, or if I'm at a show and they ask, can they sit in it, I always oblige, because you just see, you know, it makes them so happy. You know, it makes their day, you know, to get to sit in a car like this or listen to a car like it. So yeah, if I'm driving down the roads and the kids are like, yeah, give it some revs. If I'm in an old car or like an R8, I always oblige. If I'm in the McLaren, I don't bother, because I know the disappointment on their face. So yeah, the sound is not great, but there is one trick with the 600 LT. Though the sound is not great, because the exhaust are here and your heads are there, actually for the driver and the passenger, the soundtrack of the 600 LT is actually pretty darn good. I have no complaints at all. I love the way this car sounds to me as a driver. If I was sat on the road or it was going past me on a race circuit, yeah, it doesn't sound that great. You know, Lamborghini goes past you, especially with a V12 or V10, they sound absolutely incredible. Ferrari goes past you with an old naturally aspirated V8, they sound pretty darn good. Ferrari V12 goes past you, again, they sound absolutely incredible. And the same for some of the, you know, like the Audi R8s and stuff with the V8s and the V10s. They sound great. So yeah, sound great for the occupants, not so great if you want to drive around London and try to impress people. You're not going to impress people. It doesn't sound good. Looks wise, absolutely steals the shows. Taking this car to so many shows, people go mad over it. And I think a lot of it is the colour. People go mental for the colour. To my knowledge, there's only two in the UK in this colour. Because Volcano Red was never an option for 600 LTs. You had to request it from McLaren. And then they added MSO tax to it, or heritage colour or something. It's just an excuse to get more money out of you. I think the paint was about £10,000 or £11,000. Yeah, I say it's got 60 to £80,000 worth of options on it. So yeah, we've done performance, which is an absolute massive thumbs up. We've done the sound, massive thumbs up if you're an occupant, not so much if you're a bystander. Though it's pretty quiet. For a supercar, it's pretty quiet. It's you could set off quite early in the morning. You're not really going to upset anybody. It doesn't, I mean, doesn't sound like obviously a little 1 litre starting up, but it also doesn't sound like an old Ferrari starting up and wakes an entire neighbourhood. So yeah, looks wise, I think it's 10 out of 10. I think the spec of this car, the wheels, the paint, the MSO bits on it, 10 out of 10. The way it handles, 10 out of 10. I've done track days in it, and that. I've also owned a GT3, and for me, if I compare this directly against my Porsche 991 GT3 on the road, this car is way more an event. The Porsche doesn't even come close. Not even close. In fact, I didn't look up the Porsche performance figures, but I think 0 to 124 mile an hour in a Porsche GT3 991, it's around 11.5 to 12 seconds and that. But to drive on the road, I didn't find the GT3 that much of an event. In fact, at times I found it tiring just because of the firm ride and the fact it had no power until you've really got it up in the higher RPM ranges. It didn't really come alive until 5,000 RPM plus. Whereas this obviously it has turbo lag, but I actually really enjoy the turbo lag. It feels a bit like old RS Sierra Cosworth vibes. You know, you boot it, it comes on boost about 3,000 RPM. You think that, oh my God, this is insanely quick. And then you seem to get a second wave of boost at 6,000 RPM, which is like engaging the Millennium Falcon's hyperdrive. And it then just pulls all the way to 8,000 RPM. It rips your face off. And that. On the road, what I also like about it, the car is slightly under-tired. So you've only got a 225 with section tyre on the front and just a 285 on the back. I just run Pirelli P0s. I know they're not the best tyre, but I enjoy them because the car moves around. And I like the car moving around. I like it if I can boot out of a corner and it goes a bit sideways. I find that fun. On track, I run it on Nankang AR1 semi-slicks with a 235 in the front and a 305 on the back. Doesn't move around, but it is planted. I've done a national lap time around Donington of 1 minute and 12 seconds. That's how fast this car is. And obviously I know it's the driver that makes the difference. You know, I am fully aware a Porsche 992 GT3 RS on a track is quicker than that, definitely. But on the day I was there, driving this in sessions, so no cooling down lap excuses, it was sessions based. There were two 992 GT3 RSs. I overtook them both, and I overtook them both twice. Though, admittedly, one of them was better driving, but I am not in any illusion. A 992 GT3 RS with professional drivers, the Porsche is quicker. I think the lap time around the Nürburgring in this car, McLaren have never been that big on Nürburgring lap times, but I think it's like either a very high 6 minute or something like 7 minutes and 4 seconds. But I couldn't tell you. And that, for me, it's like 2-3 cars into one. You've got two boots, roof up, roof down, various sound modes, great MPG if you need it to be, insane performance if you need it to be, incredible looks, rarity as well. Let's just get onto the rarity. There's 600 LT coupe. There's only 175 right hand in the UK, and there's only 170 spiders in the UK. 170 guys. That's a rare car. And then there may only be 2 in that colour. That's mega rare, especially with that spec. So yeah. I'm just trying to think of what else can I tell you about the car. One of the other bad things about the car, the brakes. The brakes are incredible. The stopping power is insane. But for some unknown reason, it goes through brake pads at an insanely fast rate. And it's not uncommon on the factory pads to get through a set of front pads in one track day if you're driving very hard and obviously spent doing a lot of track time. You can put better pads in, but they tend to only last twice as long. And of course, anybody who's had a car on ceramic brakes will know if you let the pads get too low, they will destroy the disc. And you're looking at about £5,000 per axle for a set of disc. So yeah, performance of the brakes, amazing. Longevity of the brakes, really bad on track. On the road, they seem absolutely fine. And I think the reason for it is, if you look at other supercars, the brake calipers on like a 488 Pista are twice the size. Look how small that caliper is. It's compared to a normal road car, it's still big. but it's small. You look at a Ferrari 488 Pista, their calipers are nearly covering half the disc. So I think what's happening, there's too much heat in a small area. And I think that's the issue. The rears are not as much of a problem because obviously you do far less braking on the rear axle. So they're not as much of an issue. Car has a separate handbrake, caliper for the handbrake. So yeah, they're not as much of an issue, but on the front, yeah, on track days, really keep a close eye on your pad depth and do not let them drop below 4/5 mil. Because unfortunately, if you're seeing 4 mil at the top there, at the bottom it'd be 2 or 3 mil. And once you get down to 2-3 mil, you risk parts of the pad flaking off, which will then score the disc. And ask me how I know about this. Yep, I did a track day and I thought I had plenty of pad material on my disc on this side. I finished the track day thinking I had still 4 or 5 mil at the top. Disc looked absolutely fine. I drove home really sedately. By the time I got home, obviously I've got new disc on there now, but the disc was massively scored. And yeah, no, I mean, it was probably maybe okay-ish, but when it comes to brakes, I don't mess around. So yeah, new set of front disc, new set of front pads. Now I only ever go on a track day with brand new pads in the car, just to avoid any issues. But with the way I drive and track, because I am quite mechanically sympathetic, I'd probably get 2 to 3 track days out of a set of pads. But I would never do more than 2. And I'd probably be really quite nervous on my second one. So my view is, if you're going to do track days and when you're running the standard pads, do 1 track day, then enjoy it on the road. Don't do more than 1 track day on 1 set of OE pads, especially if you're going to spend a lot of time out. If you're one of these people, which I can be, sometimes you go to track day and you only do an hour in the whole day, then you'll be fine. But if you go to a track day and you want to be out every session, you will easily get through a set of standard pads. The RSC1 pads last about twice as long, but yeah, definitely a problem if you track driving. Anyway, so I've covered steering, which is amazing on the road, amazing on track. Covered the brakes, amazing on the road, amazing on track, but not very good for longevity. Covered the sound of the car, covered the performance of the car, covered the looks of the car, covered the reliability. Running cost. So running cost in this, as I mentioned earlier, you're looking at about $4,500 for warranty every 2 years. So you pay your $4,500 and they give you 2-year extended McLaren warranty. It's about $3,000 if you just want 1 year. So I do 2 because you save money. Insurance-wise, I obviously insure it with a specialist broker because I want track day cover and I don't want no cribbles if the windscreen gets a crack, because obviously it's thinner glass and I want genuine glass. I pay $1,300 with a company called Classic Line Limited. Admiral, for comparison's sake, was £800. So if you're not doing track days and you're happy to go with Admiral, obviously do check the small print. They generally won't pay out for more than £1,000 on a windscreen. A windscreen on one of these is about $2,500. And a Ferrari 458 is $4,000. So yeah, and covered the warranty. It doesn't drink fuel. I mean, even just if I'm driving it quite normally to and from work, it gets 17 to 20 mpg. I mean, that's a short run. There's no. It's all 30 mile an hour zones. Maybe put in a couple of stretches of dual carriageway, but because I hate the dual carriageway, I boot it. I'm always that kind of person. If I'm in a national speed limit and the road's clear ahead, I boot it. I always boot it. You don't buy a supercar to dawdle along. I boot it. So yeah, if I'm on a run out a whole day, like a Peak District drive or whatever, with friends or driving around Wales, obviously you start to carry big speed, but you're in high gears, and it's actually returned nearly 30 mpg on one of those drives, just because it's got so much torque, being turbocharged, you can drive a country road fast, even in 5th gear. I mean, I love to rev it out, but the car has that flexibility. Whereas with the GT3, I drove it like an absolute idiot because to enjoy it, I had to rev it out. I had to hit 9,000 RPM. It egged me on. I had to do it. You ended up doing big speeds. The car was ludicrously loud because it had an IPE exhaust on it. There are videos of it on my channel. Go watch them. Probably the best sounding car I've ever owned. But yeah, it egged me on. And to drive normally on the road, I found it boring. On track, it was good, but that's faster. In fact, that's the quickest track car I've ever owned. By a long shot. Faster than the 458 by a long shot. faster than the GT3 by a long shot, and way faster than my Lotus and my Caterham, my Alpine, way faster. But what I will say, the Caterham was the most fun I've ever had on a track day. It's not the fastest, but easily the most fun. Though you do feel like you might die, but it's the most fun. So what else is there? We've covered running costs, we've covered warranties, we've covered the track day inspections, we've covered performance, covered the looks, covered the noise, showing you the interior, done several walkarounds. Oh, should we see if it wants to open up this second storage compartment now the roof is up? There we go. Now there you go. As I say, you easily get a couple of soft bags in there and quite a few shoes. But of course, when you've got stuff in there, you can't put the roof down. Yeah, and I was also really wanted one with the red roof. A lot of people prefer them with the black roof, but I just thought then the car would have too much black on it. I think it's got the perfect amount of red and black on there. And I hate black wheels. I've mentioned that before in my videos. I don't like black wheels. You know, people go through so much effort to design a beautiful looking wheel, and then you paint it black and you can't see the design. What is the point? So yeah, I don't know if there's anything I've missed, guys, but if you have any questions at all about the car, about what it's like to own, am I planning on selling it? Absolutely not. It's not for sale. But of course, as the saying goes, everything's for sale if somebody offered me the right money. But as it goes, it's not for sale. Because you're not going to find another LT Spider in that colour for sale with all the MSO bits on it in such a good spec. The car is now on, I think, 17 or 18,000 miles. I'd say. Owned it 2 years, done nearly 8,000 miles. I've done 3 or 4 track days in it. Done the whole of the UK in it, south, north, west, east. Been the Isle of Man, done the mountain road, hit about 180 mile an hour. Incredible. I recommend that to anybody. Get to the Isle of Man. Got on the ferry, no issues. It was really daunting because you look at the ramp to get on the ferry and you're like, oh my God, my front end's going to get ripped off. But the car does have a lifter and it raises that front end by about another 2 inches. Gives massive clearance. I mean, we've ended up down some single track lanes and drives out with grass growing down the middle. And then this car, apart from it being wider than a normal car, it's never really been an issue. It's never like caused problems. But we don't go down single track roads on purpose. Sometimes our navigator gets a bit lost. But I can't complain because if I was navigating, we'd never get home because I'm terrible. But yeah, you know, for me, the 600LT, best McLaren. My favourite McLaren, of course, is P1. I can't afford a P1. But I'd love a P1, but I can't afford one. Second favourite McLaren. This one might cause some controversy, but having had a McLaren Artura for 3 days, I absolutely loved it. It was better on a British B road than the 600LT, just simply because the suspension was a bit more compliant, so it soaked up potholes and all the bumps and stuff that little bit better. Felt a little bit smaller as well, believe it or not. I don't think it is. Just felt it. Obviously, you know, on track and when you get on an A road, the Artura doesn't have the motorsport feel of this. And also the Artura really does sound terrible. It sounds terrible from both its ICE V6, just sounds awful, and the EV motor just whines. But to drive performance-wise, I actually really loved it. It was a fantastic car, but also it totally lacked the drama in the looks. I mean, we've made a 40-minute video now. You've seen how the car changes in its colours and shades, depending on what the sun is doing and what the clouds are doing. I think of it as like a liquid paint. A little bit like Renault liquid yellow. Such an amazing colour, and the volcano red is just so similar. I mean, look at the sun hitting that now. It just changes again. And the car isn't even that clean. It's covered in a layer of dust. So yeah, I really don't think I've missed anything now, guys. Like I say, if you do have any questions at all, just drop a question. I will always endeavour to answer any questions asked within 24 hours. And if I'm awake, it's normally much faster. But yeah, anybody thinking of buying a 600LT, do it. As I say, I've had a 458. 458 was incredible. It is a car that lives up to the reputation, won't deny it, and it's probably the most fun supercar you can buy that's modern and enjoy on the road. By that, what I mean is that you boot it, it feels ridiculously fast, and you look down, you're not going that fast. It's a little bit like the R8, because the gearing is so short on it, you just blast through the gears, you look down, you're doing 85 mile an hour. Okay, that's beyond the UK speed limit, but you ain't going to jail for that. You might get some points if you're really unlucky. And the 458, you can make it go sideways whenever you wanted, due to that low down its torque. That was another plus point of the Artura. Sideways on command. Reason being, you've got instant torque from the EV motor, and it also had drift control. The 600LT is a lot harder to get sideways at low speed, because obviously you've got lag. If you go in a corner too fast and come out on power, you'll go very sideways, and it's very controllable. On track, if you keep it under tired on the stock tyres, again, you can go quite sideways, very controllable. I always drive it with ESC dynamic off pretty much all the time, because again, as I mentioned earlier, I like to have the car moving around. The car has 3 drive modes, well 6 actually. You've got 3 for the handling. Oh, just sorry, I'm making this video even longer now. So if I go in here, you can see it's got MSO on the floor mats as well. I think it's got MSO on the pedals too. Anyway, let me try to focus on that. So you got your drive mode, your press active activates it. Then you've got your handling and suspension. So you've got comfort, which is a real genuine comfy car to drive. You know, it's firm but well damped, and it's more comfy than my M2 was in comfort mode. You've got sport mode, which makes it a bit firmer, probably allows a little bit more slip from the TC. You've got track mode, which makes it firmer again. So you've got 3 settings on the dampers, and probably allows a bit more slip. Then you've got the drivetrain modes. This is where it gets fun. In comfort mode, everything's seamless. The car changes gear, you don't even notice it changing gear. It's totally seamless gear shifts. And it's just traditional dials. You put it in sport mode and things get very different. In sport mode, the gear shifts are abrupt and harsh, and it's doing ignition cut. And what that means is when you change up gear or even go down a gear, it's cutting the ignition to give a real aggressive jolt on the upshift, and sometimes an almighty bang. And I mean by a bang out the exhaust, not something's breaking bag-wise. And on downshift, you get the real aggressive pops and explosions. I actually really dislike it. Not for the net sound, I just don't like how it feels unsettled. But if you're taking a passenger out and you want to make them scream or add drama, drive it in sport mode on the drivetrain. It adds the drama, that's for sure. Then track mode, it changes the gear shift from ignition cut to inertia upshift. And what that means is that you almost feels like the car accelerates more as you pull the gear. And you get like a thrust forward on the upshifts. I absolutely love that. Feels great. And also the whole display changes to like a horizontal rev counter, and it's really clear, all the tyre pressures, all the stuff that you want to see on a track day. Oh, another really bad thing as well about track days, the tyre pressure system. It's like being on Star Trek and going to red alert, because obviously you drop your tyre pressures when you go out on track, because you know they're going to go up lots as soon as you've done 2 or 3 laps. So you drop your pressures, the car thinks you've got flat tyres, and it's like red alert going off. It's like bong, 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 bong. You think the Klingons are like bearing down on you, about to blow you up and stuff. No, they're not. And even after you've been out 10 minutes on track, 15 minutes, and all your pressures are up to where they should be, it's still bonging intermittently, because it hasn't basically learned. They have actually fixed that on the modern McLarens. They've actually realised this issue, and there's now a track mode for the TPMS system on the new cars that stops it from doing it. But with a helmet on, and with all the noises and the speed that you're going out on track, I say it's annoying, but you don't really notice it, if I'm honest. And like you just focused on where you're going, keeping it on the black stuff, as we say, and just pedaling the car as good as you can. So yeah, I would say the negatives are only if you're doing track days and one, it gets expensive. The brakes should last longer. TPMS can be annoying, and the whole inspection, I'm going to say it, bullshit. It's just annoying. Also, another point here. You get an MOT done. An MOT takes about 45 minutes. They charge you 50 quid. What McLaren's doing on their inspection, they could do in about the same time, I reckon. But it's 250 quid. And you have to pay it twice for pre and a post inspection. What the hell? McLaren, sort it out. I love you as a brand. Really glad that you guys are doing really well in F1 at the moment as well. Love the brand, love the cars. Dealerships have had great experience with Manchester McLaren. Fantastic support. And that those guys have been brilliant for me. But yeah, the whole track day thing, McLaren needs to get a bit more friendly. Porsche's still miles ahead when it comes to their brakes lasting and not charging inspections for track and their extended warranty covering track use on their GT products. But yeah, I think we'll do one last walk around because I think I have now absolutely included everything. I am really sorry that this video's now gone on for what is 46 minutes, probably 50 minutes, because I will no doubt find something else to talk about. But I think it's well worth it. I managed to talk about a 600 LT for nearly an hour and I didn't even drive it. I think if I made a driving video of this car, guys, the video would be 24 hours long. It's that good. It really is. I say I've had a 458. I've driven loads of stuff as well. So I didn't just decide I wanted a 600 LT when I bought one. I went and drove everything. I was driving Lamborghinis, other Ferraris. I drove 488s, F8s. And I'll say now, guys, sorry if I insult anyone. The F8, I really disliked it. Oh my God, that car was so boring. The 488, I actually preferred a little bit over the F8, but it ain't a 458, guys. Yeah, 488's a cracking value now. You get a 488 for the same price as one of these. And a 488, for comparative sakes, on that 0 to 124 is 0.1 of a second slower than this. So they're the same performance. They're the same. Same money, but come on. You want an ugly 488, and sorry if again I've insulted them, but the 488 is ugly from the front end. It looks like people are sitting on the front bonnet and creased it and stuff, and it looks like it's got a really cheap front splitter on it, the 488. It looks like it's not attached to it. From the back, the 488 looks like, but no, 458 all day long. Peak Ferrari for me. Apart from 812 super fast, absolutely love that. Might buy myself an 812 one day or a Ferrari F12. I'm still yet to experience a V12, guys. I've not owned a V12 motor yet. I've had a V10 in the form of a BMW E60 M5. Cracking. I've driven loads of Lamborghini. I have driven an Aventador as well. Again, I must admit, I drove an Aventador. Biggest letdown ever. Sorry to any of my mates that have owned one. Just not a car for me. Crap gearbox. Massively too big on the road. And not that fast. Really not that fast at all. As you can see, an LP750 is slower than a 600 LT, and that's like one of the big, crazy expensive ones. You want to just drop in a 200 grand typical Aventador LP700. It's a lot slower than that car. A lot slower. And also, you just can't take it. You can't enjoy it. It's too big, too wide on the road. Drinks fuel. Of course, the Lamborghini thing, nothing beats them for presence. I'll give them that. Nothing probably has more presence than an Aventador in both looks. And if that engine starts up, wow. Nothing like a Lamborghini V12 for stealing a show, when that fires up and does a few revs. You hear it in a different county. But yeah, if I buy a V12, it's going to be a Ferrari. And it'll be an F12 or an 812. I like my cars to handle. I like my cars to be pointy. And I'm not interested in four-wheel drive. I want rear-wheel drive. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some four-wheel drive systems are good. My R8's four-wheel drive. It's fine. But the way I drive, I just like a rear-wheel drive car. I've really gone on now. But yeah, 600 LT, cracking car. You're thinking about one. Don't think. Get one bought and enjoy it. They're great value for me at the moment. But the values haven't changed, like I say. The coupes have maybe gone down a little bit. The Spiders seem to be pretty much where they've been for the last 2 years. At the most, they've moved 10 grand in 2 years. Which I think on a supercar, nothing at all. 458s have dropped more. And that Porsches have dropped a lot more. I sold my GT3 at the right time. Because if I was selling that same car today, I'd probably be taking 20 grand less. Which would hurt. But yeah, that's the problem with this car, guys. I can literally just stand and stare at it all day. Such a good looking car. That's what I mean. It's such an event to drive. No matter, everywhere you go, everybody is like wants to ask you questions about it. really interested in it. And I mean, Isle of Man, well, it was not at the show. I think about 50 people must have been sat in it, getting in and out of it. But that's what I do. I let people do it, because especially with like kids now, you see the smiles on their faces and that. I absolutely love it. If you own a supercar, it's part of the ownership experience, you know. Got to make people's day. But yeah. Oh, let me just say it. Let me get it in there. I would really appreciate it. If you can give me a like, but even more so, please subscribe to the channel. I do plan on doing more of these walk around videos and more talking about the car. Some of you may hate that, may find it boring. Some of you may find it really interesting. And now, obviously, spec wise, we talked about the performance, but obviously I didn't mention brake horsepower, but the clue is in the name. 600, it's 600 PS, about like 592 horsepower. It's got about 460 foot-pounds of torque, weighs about 1,300 kilos. You know, anybody can realise from those numbers and that lack of weight, it's going to be mental. Oh yeah. Yeah, when your mate tells you his Tesla is quicker than a supercar, just laugh at him. Because I've driven Teslas, and yeah, they're amazing, 20 to 60 mile an hour. You boot a Tesla at 20 mile an hour, it's off, but they're out of puff by 80. And also to me, driving a Model 3 Performance, the interior was disgraceful. It was just like, it got Fisher Price chairs in it and some cheap iPad on the dash. It was absolutely disgusting. And I just didn't enjoy it, guys. I really just didn't enjoy driving it. But I've been in it 5 minutes. I got bored of its one-trick pony acceleration. And I just got bored, I'm afraid to say. It just didn't excite me. And a car that, you know, it's not a slow car. I'm saying it's not as fast as a supercar, but they're quicker than any normal car on the road. And they're as quick as a 20-year-old supercar. But it didn't excite me. I drive my 360, which is no faster than a Tesla, about the same, maybe a little bit slower. But oh my, I'm having so much more fun in the 360. I drive my R8. That's probably slower than a Tesla 3 Model 3 Performance. But oh my, I am having so much more fun, even if I'm driving at 20 mile an hour. And I'm sorry to say it, if you're a petrol head and you're a driving enthusiast, that's what it's all about. Cars should make you happy to look at it. It should make you happy when you start it up. It should make you happy when you drive it at 20 mile an hour. And it should make you happy if you drive it at 200, if it can do so and you can find a place to do it in legally. That's what driving is all about. That's what being a petrol head is all about. I'm not against EVs. I, in fact, love hybrids. As I said, I loved driving the Artura. I loved the fact that after a crazy country road blast, I could drop into a city, drop it in EV mode, and just cruise along on electric. Nobody annoyed me because I didn't have to worry about getting up the gears, didn't have to worry about wasting gas, petrol, whatever you want to call it, depending on where you're viewing from. Really great. But the only EV that interests me is an Alpine A290. And that's simply because if we got one, it would be used as a commuter. To and from work, to and from shopping, to and from towns. That's what they're great for. Especially if you can charge it for free at work, which at our work you can. Big thumbs up to Overclockers for that. Free EV charging at Overclockers UK for members of staff at the moment. So yeah. But yeah, long distance you bow on long range, I guess it's okay. But you want to go to driving holiday, you want to enjoy some roads, you want to go to car shows, you want to, you know, all the things that makes it all exciting. Can't have any of that in an EV. Unless maybe it's like a little A290, it'll generate questions for sure. But yeah. Anyway, EV v ICE, that's a totally different topic, but I think you guessed my thoughts on that now, guys. Doesn't interest me as a car that's fun and performance based. Because for me, faster does not mean better. Let me make that really clear. As I said earlier in this video, my Caterham was more fun on track than that. And it's far slower. Says it all. And never ever let somebody spiel out numbers to you. Oh, you shouldn't buy that because this one's faster. You buy what you enjoy driving the most, not what other people think you should buy. You buy it for yourself and you buy it for your own enjoyment. And as I've got older, I've definitely found more enjoyment, I would say, in slower cars, because you can enjoy them more on the road. You can rev them out, you can push them harder, and you start pushing this on the road, you know, you need to be in the Isle of Man, because like I say, on the mountain road, we hit about 180 mile an hour on a public road, but thankfully, totally legal. Isle of Man, you do 200 mile an hour if you're brave enough on that road. The bikers do 200 mile an hour, and it's totally legal. Police will only have a problem if they think you're driving dangerous and that. So yeah, definitely recommend a McLaren, definitely a 600LT. I definitely recommend you go to the Isle of Man, and fingers crossed, touch wood and all that kind of stuff, I've had no major issues, nothing that's taken it off the road. I take it in as and when it suits me, or when it's been serviced. The damper and the bushes were done when it was being serviced. The AC I dropped off at my convenience just before I went on holiday. Left it with him for a week, came back, my AC was working. All done under warranty, extended warranty as well. Yeah, it's now nearly an hour. I am definitely going to stop the video here now, guys. I say a massive thumbs up for watching. Give me a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe. Over and out. Take care. Have a great day.